Hi everyone, welcome back to Live Darts. Friend of the channel as always, Wayne Mardle. Wayne, over here in Germany, what an exhibition this is, by the way, before we get into everything else. What a crowd that is, and you've made your calling debut tonight as well.
Yeah, I know, what was all that about? Played Max Hop, beat Max Hop, of course, which what do you expect? No, joking aside. I was asked to stand in for George Noble, because he was playing in a pairs game with Michael van Gerwen. 1,501 was the leg. And I called it. Didn't make one mistake. Not one. And there were some poor darts, let me tell you. George Noble was calling.
Well, where's he pulled that 140 out from at the end?
Yeah, it didn't take out the 140. He scored 140 to leave 48. And then Michael took it out. Of course he did. But yeah, George was poor. Then he got poorer, and then he hit a 140. So that kind of makes up for everything.
Madness.
Yeah, isn't it just? But yeah, it's been a great night. Really enjoyed it.
Have you had time to reflect on the Worlds yet? Obviously, we're a few days since the final. Have you had time to take it all in, take stock of what we saw over that gruelling 3 weeks at Ali Pali?
To be honest, I've seen Michael here tonight, and of course, and Peter. So I've chatted with them both, because I'm a fan first and foremost, so I want to know their insights. I want to see how they feel. Michael is like, just crack on with it. I've lost in finals before. Peter is just living the dream, and I'm a dart player. How he feels, I've got absolutely no idea, but you can just see the way that he's walking around. Joe is just full of it as well, and good luck to them. But as for taking in what actually happened during the whole shebang of the Worlds, you kind of play it round by round, and you remember, it's like a recency bias. You remember the final, then the semi-final, then the quarters, and then it kind of becomes a bit hazy. But I just remember it being, there was a lot of close games in the first round. The gap between the elite, or maybe the top 16, yeah, let's call it the top 16, and those that are not seeded, is not as great as it was. There's still a gap between the elite and everyone else. That's why it was Michael and Peter in the final.
Compared to this time last year, it would be fair to say the floor has risen, but perhaps the ceiling has dropped, because the overall standard, in my opinion, wasn't as great as what we've seen. And I know averages are only a guide, but we saw less ton plus and big averages than what we've seen recently.
Averages are a guide, and that's it. That's absolutely bang on. Yeah, I think you're right. The way that a lot of the unknowns, if you like, not to us, but to the viewer that don't see them week in, week out, those players, we know they can do a job, do the business. But yeah, I think you're right. There wasn't the 110, the 115 averages that we don't see often, but we do see. And the Worlds is a funny beast. It really is. I just think that it's so difficult to play your best game at the Worlds. Peter Wright did it in spells. I still think of the 162, 140 against Malikdom. And I still think of some of the sets he played against Luke Humphries that were fantastic, and the consistent way that he just dealt with Gedwin Price. Michael van Gerwen, on the other hand, was all right for him. But yeah, the standard was not, I don't think it was great, but it made for a really interesting event where you've got Michael van Gerwen in the final, and he wasn't a given to win it. And we didn't feel that he was a given to win it, and he actually ended up losing.
Something about the Worlds as well, surviving a bullet and going on to win. I say that Rob Cross survived a few, and we touched on the Malikdom game. In all fairness, Peter should have gone home then, but like a true champion, he found a way and found a will when it really mattered.
Well, there was a lot of times during the actual event that Peter was up against it. Against Jeffrey Deswan, he didn't play well from, I think it was 3 sets up, pulled it back to 3-all Jeffrey, and then it got a bit nip and tuck, but he held himself together. There was a couple of sets that he had a real off spell, and he did that against Peter Wright. He did that against Michael van Gerwen. He did that against Luke Humphries, where he's averaging in the 80s, where he'd gone 105, 106, 80 odd, and I mean low 80s, and then 107 or something. So there was off periods for him, but I just think that in general, his all-round game was good enough to beat anyone, and that's the way it turned out to be. And Michael was nowhere near his best, but in that final, averaging 102.88, that's the second highest ever in the history of the PDC losing average. So I don't want to hear that he played poorly. He didn't.
The story of the Worlds, though, has to go to one lady in particular, Fallon Sherrock. An unbelievable story that was told across that tournament. Not only what she did for ladies darts, but darts in general.
Yeah, I mentioned it at the time, what she did for darts, what she did for all, whether it be men's, ladies, youth, darts, no matter what, but also sport in general. What she did, I thought was incredible. And there was Rod Studd come up with it. It's a positive discrimination. That's what he said. We need more of that. And you know what? The more I think about it, the more he's right. It's, look, these ladies now are not the ladies of 10, 20 years ago that weren't good enough. Some of them are now. And Fallon's actually gone up there and proven it. We saw Anastasia beat Vincent van der Voort in the Grand Slam years ago. But that was just it seemed like a real short format, so there wasn't the credibility.
Yeah.
And then it was like a one-off, and it was like, come on, you can do it. Anastasia, whether she can repeat it again remains to be seen. She's had a chance in the PDC Worlds, but then Lisa Ashton, Mikuru, and I really feel for Mikuru Suzuki because she comes so close to winning.
One dart.
One dart. She was 36 points away from beating James Richardson. Didn't have a shot, let's put that out there, but all of a sudden, like now, doesn't get a mention because of the exploits of Fallon Sherrock, which, okay, I can kind of understand, but these women now, they're top notch. They really are. And I'm so pleased that someone has come along and eventually done something that we thought was going to happen. And full credit to Fallon.
Off the back of that, the world has opened up for her. The World Series, the whole lot, a night in the Premier League. Amazing on one hand, but do the PDC have to be also careful as well?
Look, I'm thinking of the growth of the game here. The PDC, I think, have done the right thing. They've given her a night as a challenger. The contenders are gone. They're rebranded as challengers. The World Series events, I'm not sure she should have got them all. Maybe Mikuru could have got one, and maybe some other players could have, as in tour card holders.
That's what I was getting at. Do you think there will be a backlash? Obviously, players won't speak out right now, but in time, do you think there'll be one or two going, hang on a minute, I've slaved for years and got nothing?
Well, they won't speak out because they think if they speak out, they won't be given a chance. Maybe that some deserve and some don't. But if you're a 50-50 and you've slated the organisation that's maybe giving you a chance, then that will go against you. I don't care anyone says this. Barry calls it a meritocracy. It's not. It's not. You do it at the right time and you create the right waves at the right time. That's not meritocracy. That's timing. Me personally, I don't see anything wrong in what they're doing, but maybe putting all their eggs in one basket, yeah, I can see why some players that hold tour cards and are right up there in the rankings would become slightly annoyed. Yeah, I can see that.
How long before do you think we potentially see a ladies tour card holder on merit that one goes and wins one? Because already confirmed, Lisa, Anastasia, Mikuru, Fallon and Bo Greaves are all said they are going to Q School.
Well, Lisa last year got within, I think it was a point.
One game.
Yeah, one game, which is, look, it's incredible. Lisa Ashton was the best player, the best ladies player in the world last year. She still might be now, but Fallon Sherrock she's upped the level by performing to a 90 average 3 times running, which no lady's done on TV. The odd one, yes, fair enough, but doing it against the man under that scrutiny when you have to do it, to do that, Fallon's done incredibly. It was an amazing achievement. I think it will come. I think one of them will qualify within the next 2 years, 3 years, maybe even more than that. But the ladies are now gaining so much experience that these games are not big anymore. When Lisa played in the Q School 2 years ago or last year, it was like, there's a lady giving it a go. Well, no, hold on. Now it's like, okay, Lisa's giving it a go. Makuru's going to give it a go. Bo Greaves, Fallon Sherrock. One of them, I think, is good enough to nick a spot. And there's a lot of men out there that know they can't compete with Fallon Sherrock and the other ladies that have aforementioned. So, whilst it's difficult, it wouldn't be impossible for them at all. And full credit to them for thinking that they've got a chance. Good luck to them.
We'll roll into the ladies, into the BDO, because it goes hand in hand. I'm not going to try and BDO bash it because we both agree there is a place, but disappointed with the way things materialised and broke as we were at Alexandra Palace, especially around the prize fund and all the way that was handled, and especially the ladies' prize fund of only 8,000 for the winner. That's not right, is it?
The prize fund is a problem. The prize fund is a massive problem within the BDO system. But I think what we've got to realise here is that the prize fund has always been a problem. Forget the World Championships. The prize fund has always been a problem in every Open that I used to play in. And this is absolute fact. The last ranking event I played in within the BDO system was the Danish Open. I won £606. Once we changed it up, converted, £606. That was ridiculous. And by the way, that put me to world number 1. Only for a week. Only for a week. Hold on, come on now. I got carried away, don't you? But that's poor. And that same weekend that I spoke to them, Andy Jenkins and Kevin Painter, they got to the quarterfinals of what was then a UK Open qualifying event. They got £600 each for travelling down the road. I was in Denmark and I spent the best part of £500 trying to win £606. The prize money's always been a problem. The fact that it's gone backwards is the problem. That's the real problem here. And I feel for them. But again, the likes of Lisa Ashton are not going to pull out when they can win £8,000. That's so much money for these ladies now. They don't get an opportunity to win that amount in any one event, and on top of that is the world title. Is it wrong? Yes, it's wrong that it's been lessened. It's not as much as it was. The BDO is nowhere near as strong as it used to be and the strength it used to have. Things change, unfortunately. If it folds, it folds. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But at the moment, the BDO Worlds is going well. It's been well received. Yeah. There's been a lot more tickets sold than what people thought, me personally. So good luck to them. I hope it works out. But the drop in prize money is a blow to them, yes.
Just two things off you said there. One, were you surprised Fallon pulled out?
I wasn't surprised Fallon pulled out because there's things that have transpired since that I'm not going to go into, and I don't think whether it's public domain or not, I have no idea, but I know things. I understand that the management were protecting the product, which is Fallon Sherrock. If she gets beat, then all of a sudden, all right, 3-game wonder. That comes around, and it's a difficult one. It really is. Me personally, being of that kind of person, I'd have gone there and tried to have won it, which obviously I failed a lot, but I'd have gone there, tried to have won it, and then said, right, my stock has actually absolutely risen, let alone dropped. It's risen. So, but I can see it. I really can.
And what you said about the amateur game and everything like that, it sounds like there was a very productive meeting whilst we were at Alexandra Palace between the PDC and the WDF in regards to the amateur game, which can only be a good thing if Barry, Matt and the gang are going to try and help.
Look, I've said this all along. I don't think the PDC, whether I'll be proven wrong on this, I don't know. I don't think the PDC have got any interest in the amateur game whatsoever. Whether it be the Challenge Tour, the Development Tour, that's feeding the professional tour. That's what they're trying to do there. They're not interested in the county system. They're not interested in amateurs playing in for £100 here and there. They couldn't care less. Whether they are or not, and I get proven wrong, like I said, I hope I am, because it needs a professional body to run what is an amateur game. It's an amateur game. And if they can make it better, then great. Everyone will be better off. And if Barry wants to get involved, and say, right, I'll take over all the Opens, I'll take over all the county system, I'll take over all the youth systems, take over the whole lot. Brilliant. I would love that to happen, because Barry doesn't get involved in things that he thinks are going to fail within the first couple of years. If it all goes wrong, then fair enough. At least someone's give it a go.
Also, as we talked about earlier, the Premier League lineup is out. We've got a new concept. The Challenger in. We'll come to that in a minute. But first off, the 9. Do you agree with them?
I kind of do, yeah. I think there was a space for Dave Chisnell, but I'm a friend of Chizzy. I love Chizzy. It's entertainment, but going back to Barry's meritocracy, which doesn't exist. You know that, Barry. Come on, mate. I agree with Glenn Durrant. I think he's had a great year. He's not reached a final. He's not won anything. So maybe there was cause for someone else to be put in there, and some of the others. Look, I've got no gripes at all with it. Whoever plays, plays. So I'm not going to pull out names and say they shouldn't be in or they should. You name it. You name the 9 players. There's a reason to put them in. And I mentioned Glenn purely because he's the one outside the top 8,
yeah,
the top 9. But you look at what he's done. You can't knock the man. He's come over in 1 year. He's made hell of an inroad into the PDC World of Darts.
Do you think, looking at it, it was a straight shootout between Glenn and Dave for that last spot?
Thinking of it now, probably yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. Dave played a great game and lost. That's what happens. And it happens to Dave a lot in the World Championships.
Yeah.
How does he do it?
Last time we spoke in November in Grantham, I asked you about this and you said contenders, no. They're there in a different name. Happy or not?
Not really. Like I said, whatever it is. But I've now got to the point where, bearing in mind, I was part of the process the first years.
Yeah.
So 2005, the inaugural Premier League. This is the way it's going to be picked. I was standing by the phone. I remember I was actually laying actually. Waiting for the phone call, it come, Wayne, you're in. The next year, Wayne, you're in. Then I got picked as a number 7 in the world. I got left out or omitted as a number 6 in the world. When I was number 4 or 5, it was fine. You think there's not much there to there's not many negatives. But look, I've got to the point now where people make such a thing of it. Just make it top 10. If the world champion is outside the top 10, like it was with Rob Cross, you make it top 9 and the world champ. Simple. It stops all that. I understand I want the challengers. I've got little gripe with that, to be fair. But whatever it's going to be, it's going to be. Me personally, just reward the players that should be there, and that's the top 10.
Also, as well, off the back of the Worlds, Raymond's fairy tale year ended in, let's face it, an absolute nightmare. Were you disappointed with his reaction, the way he conducted himself on that final few minutes as a professional dart player?
Well, as you know, I work for Sky Sports, and my mate Rod Studd had to interview him, and I made my thoughts known on a couple of occasions that I don't think he should speak to Raymond, not when he's lost. Sky carried on and said Raymond wants to speak to us. Wow. I was bamboozled. I was like, right, okay, fair enough, take it back. He kind of agreed but didn't want to speak. Raymond should have just been strong enough and said, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk. He actually thought that was better than not talking. It wasn't. Sky asked him a question, do you want to do an interview? He said yes. He should have said no. It was a poor decision on Raymond's part, and it was an even poorer decision the way he acted. But he knows that. It doesn't take us to tell him.
Also, as well, as we all know, Michael Van Gerwen has moved manufacturer and has said he will play with new darts, use the same set for the last 8 years. What do we think this means to everyone else trying to chase him, and is there going to be a period where they can now get at him?
I think there's a confidence crisis. I don't think it will matter. He's quite lucky, Michael. He's not lucky. He just lost in a world final. I've never done that, so I don't know how lucky he is. He's lucky in the fact that he's got a few weeks off. I know he's going away with the family next week, and he's having a break for a week. Then he'll come back for the Masters. I've been with him tonight. He's trying out all sorts of darts, but he's got a clue. He played with the set and said the points are wrong. Right, okay. Well, at least he's getting there.
At least he says this barrel's right and it's
yes,
the point now.
Yes, I agree with that. And the man's got ability that no one else has got on the planet. So he'll get over it. He'll get over it and he'll crack on. And he'll be ready for, I think it should be the Premier League. It's going to sound so disrespectful, and I don't mean it this way. The Masters doesn't mean a lot.
It's not ranked or anything like
no,
that. So why it's not, I agree with you. It's
no. So I think he'll want to play well, and if he wins, he wins. If he loses, as long as he plays well, I don't think he'll care. And then he'll just crack on and see what happens. But yes, he will change his darts. Absolutely fact.
As a player, is it a big thing? Because most top players now change frequently, but Michael's one of the rare ones that hasn't. Like we said, he said earlier, he's used that one set for 8 years. Is that a rarity in the top game though? Because most of them chop and change all over the place.
It is a rarity in the top game now. Never used to be.
I remember you talking. You used the same ones for
years.
I
basically used the same set for the best part of 30 years, and there was a set that I used for a month in between because I had a point break and I couldn't get it poured out like I wanted to, and they said they might have to damage the barrel, so I went somewhere else. Well, for that month I was in turmoil, and I just believe that now there are so many products that are available to the players that they're just kind of bamboozled and sidelined by all the products. It was simple back in the day. You had a point, you had a barrel, you had a nylon shaft, and you had a standard point or a pair. That was the way it was. You now look at what they got today. There's so many decisions they have to make, and Michael, I think he'll work it out. Whether it's not the barrels, in my opinion. The points tonight were proving him a bit of a quandary, a bit of a problem. He's changed them and he's working it out. I don't see that he's going to be able to be got at, as in by the players. I just think that once he works it out within the next few weeks, that'll be it. He'll be back on the horse again.
Wayne, it's an absolute pleasure. We'll let you get back downstairs. I've bent your ear for long enough, and we'll see you week 1, Aberdeen, Premier League 2020.
Always enjoyable, pal. Thanks for listening, guys. Thank you.